Hey everyone, in this Aliens Dark Descent how to get rid of trauma video, that's exactly what I'm going to show you. So we're sitting in the barracks on the Otago, and Hicks here, you can see, has a bit of trauma going on. He has pyrophobia 1, and you can see these little 4 bars. So how do we fix that? What you're going to do is keep playing the game until you complete the second mission, and then what that will unlock is over in the medical quarters you will get the psychiatric care unit. And if we have a little look over there, so I'm using LB/RB to flick between these things on the top bar, which you're probably used to, and then on the sub menu here, the med bay, you can access the psychiatric care unit here. And what this will show you is therapy slots at the top, and you can see there's 4, and I've got 3 Marines in here at the minute. And yeah, I'm working on turning these all into the Aliens Marines, but I need to continue with that because I've not quite finished it. But anyway, you can see Hicks down the bottom there has pyrophobia. I mean, we've got these 4 bars here. And what it says is therapy will heal 2 trauma point per day spent in therapy. So you just start therapy by pressing holding A down or whatever button it shows there. And then you can see Hicks has been added to the therapy slots. So these are all full. So Latimer here can't go in yet because we are full with the therapy slots at the minute. But the next thing we need to do is then just progress time. So you'd go to the command deck and you'd hit next day, and then once we've gone past these days, what will happen to each of these, as it says on these, in the psychiatric care unit,
do you need to talk, Administrator?
2 trauma points per day. So what we should see is, the following day Hicks will drop by 2 points there, and that's going to help things out. So what we'll do, we'll go to the command deck and we'll just have a little look at that. One thing to bear in mind is as the game progresses, each time you go to the next day, the planet infestation will continue to increase, and that makes things harder. So you don't want to keep needlessly spending days if you can avoid it. But in this case, we need to fix Hicks, man. That kind of rhymes, doesn't it? So I hit next day. So you got to hold down
New
Y.
objectives are awaiting review.
Brilliant. So Apone is exhausted, so we're going to have to sort him out. So I'm going to order the Marine to rest because I don't want a random trauma. But what we should see is, although we've lost Apone, hopefully in our medical quarters, we should see that Hicks in the psychiatric care unit now only has 1 day left, and check it out, he now shows us no trauma, so we've got rid of that initial one. So we've got these 3 bars. Now, one thing I want to talk about just before we go is, how does that trauma occur? What can you do to avoid it? So if we back out of here, if we go to the command deck, there's a really useful thing called the Codex, which you can access in the general missions, but also here by going to the command deck and hitting the left trigger or whatever button it shows down the bottom left, probably L2 on the PlayStation. So if we jump into here, and then if you go all the way over to Assistant, there's loads of helpful information in here, and one of which is to do with trauma and stress. Okay, so if we go all the way down, so you've got the health system, you've got the wounds. So here's trauma, and it says traumas are passive penalties that Marines acquire after a deployment during which they faced stressful situations. At the end of a deployment, all Marines acquire a number of trauma points based on the highest stress step they reach during the deployment. So anxious, which is the yellow bar, is 1 trauma point, panicked orange 2 trauma points, terrified red 3 trauma points. So what you'll see at the bottom of each Marine is a little sort of like the health bar, and you'll see a little percentage, and if it's in white, you're cool, you're not going to get a trauma point, but if it goes to yellow, orange or red, you're going to get these trauma points once you get them out of the place that they're in. So if they ended up with terrified, you're going to get hit with 3 trauma points. As it says, after reaching 3 points, the Marine gains a trauma. Marines retain trauma points and traumas between missions unless you treat them in the psychiatric care unit, which is what we did. So you can see another 3 points will trigger an even more significant effect on the previously acquired trauma, so you don't want to let these stack up. It also shows the list of traumas. So as we saw with Hicks, you had pyrophobia, and each time the incineration skill is used or an oil puddle is set on fire, the Marine takes stress damage. But you can see all the other ones here that can be problematic to Marines and get that trauma. So hopefully that helps explain how to reduce trauma. If it did, give us a thumbs up, please. That's much appreciated. Any comments welcome. If you need more help with Aliens Dark Descent, have a little look at the tutorial playlist up at the end of this video. Hopefully that answers all your questions, but if you've got any more questions, hit me up with a comment. I'll do my best to help. Thanks so much.